What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Matt Cabral, joined as always with my co-host, Mr. Sean Olheim, back with another episode on this beautiful Easter Sunday night. I hope you guys all had a great Easter. I know me and Sean did, if you guys do celebrate this day. But we're here tonight to bring you guys some football, some offseason football content. We graded our AFC offseasons the last weekend. This weekend, we're going to do our NFC offseasons grade. But before we dive into this video, Mr. Sean Olheim, how you doing?
I'm good. It was a good Easter. Good to see the family. Ton of April birthdays in the family, so kind of celebrated that too. Had some cake, got some, money in terms of gifts and stuff. So that was fun. But haven't really had much action in the NFL since the last time we graded the AFC offseason. So yeah, excited to get to today's video. We're just under 3 weeks away from the draft. So we're getting there. I'm sure we'll have at least 2 or 3 more mock drafts out on the channel before then. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But I'm excited for today's episode.
Yeah, Sean actually has a little birthday coming up. We have a couple more episodes probably coming out before that happens. But yeah, we're really excited for just to drop this video for you guys. But we're kind of just chugging towards the draft at this point. A lot of pages and social media people are, and people that work for the NFL too, because there's a lot of dead periods in the NFL after free agency between then and the draft, and then after the draft until training camp. There's a lot of dead periods, but we're getting pretty close. And before we start, guys, yeah, exactly. Just make sure to subscribe to our videos for more content. Our last video did really well, so we appreciate you guys for all the support on our last mock draft. Shout out to the viewers.
Unreal.
Yeah, let's get going with our NFC off-season grades. Sean, we'll start off no particular order again with the Arizona Cardinals. Me and Sean decided to give them a D+. Now we're going to do the same thing as last time. I give the additions, Sean gives the subtractions, and also another thing we're going to include is Sean's going to give the money that they have available currently, just to kind of be realistic about what they could have done this offseason. So the Arizona Cardinals kind of stayed pat. I think they're just accepting the full rebuild here. But some, main moves, they lost. I'm sorry, that's Sean's job. They got Isaac Seumalo. They got Gardner Minshew. They got Tyler Algier. They got Kendrick Bourne. They released Kyler Murray. That's pretty much it. And they got Jack Gibbons from the New England Patriots. So, and Devin Duvernay. So, like I said, kind of just embracing the rebuild, which me and Sean don't necessarily hate. Sean, I'll let you get into the guys that departed.
Yeah, and we did include kind of that idea when we were grading this. Obviously, they didn't really get much better, but the fact that they're embracing and they're not just like spending money willy-nilly on random guys that won't really be part of their future definitely helps. So yeah, they lost Jalen Thompson, obviously one of their starting safeties, to the Cowboys. Obviously, Kyler Murray went to the Vikings after they released him. Emery DeMercado's gone. Greg Dortch is gone. Jonah Williams, their right tackle, who is horrible. Calais Campbell, Zay Jones. Not really any, huge losses besides the departure of Kyler Murray, which is kind of inevitable. But yeah, at the current moment, they have $41 million in cap space. That currently sets at the 5th most. So they're gonna have some money to work with next year if they can. Maybe they're a potential Ty Simpson candidate. Maybe they see something in him this year that they really like, and they start building around him next year. They're gonna have a lot of cap space moving forward and into the future. If they're a team that drafts a quarterback next year as well. So I do like what the Cardinals are doing. Seumalo's a good addition. He had a solid year with the Steelers. He's been pretty steady for them at left guard, which is all you can really ask for. But yeah, I don't hate what the Cardinals are doing, but it's just going to be another disappointing season. Probably you're going to hope for strides out of guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Walter Nolan, and whoever they draft. But kind of just middle of the road off season for the Cardinals.
Yeah. So me and Sean like the path that they stuck to, like we said. But if we're kind of just grading the offseason in general, like the guys they brought in, like I like the Algier signing. I like the Gardner Minshew is like a, fringe starting quarterback because, like we said, it's probably going to be a young guy in there. If not, they just are going to go with the bridge guy. Kendrick Bourne's a solid wide receiver 3-4. Roy Lopez, decent little Decent little rotational D tackle. I think the Jalen Thompson loss is pretty significant. He was a good player for them. But again, embracing the full rebuild. And the reason they don't have as much cap as you may think with this roster is they have dead money for Kyler Murray still. They released him. And he was still under contract for, I believe this was the last year coming up under his contract. So next year they'll be freed out of that.
Yeah, there's $73 million in dead cap.
Yeah, that is. Wait, how? Who else?
It's Kyler Murray, bro.
It's just that.
Wow. I don't know. It just says dead cap.
That's
Dude, wait. How does it? The Jets have $104 million in dead cap.
Yeah,
Matt, from what?
Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you, but
they're not good. They were never good enough to have that much dead cap. They never had. Let me rephrase that. They never had anyone good enough to have that much dead cap.
Back to this though. The only signing that I'm a little confused with is probably the best player they got is in Siamalu. Like he's a very good guard. But he's 31 years old. Doesn't really fit the timeline of this team. But to me, this kind of signals that they're going to go with a younger quarterback. Me and Sean's line of offseason grades is C+. You kind of either get better or don't really do much. And then below that, you got worse. And then anything above that, you either got better or you got a lot better. C+, Cardinals kind of, the guys they lost, I don't really care about, like older guys, except for Jalen Thompson. Like I said, they have some nice offensive weapons. If they do draft a quarterback, if not, they'll get fine production from Minshew or Brissett. Nothing special. Just kind of an average offseason. Nothing really sexy here. I think we can easily move on to the Falcons, Sean, if you have nothing else to say.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
So, like I said, next team, the Atlanta Falcons, who maybe aren't a team that did a lot, but in their moves that they did make, we gave them a D. The main guy being Tua Tagovailoa. You're already dealing with an injury-prone lefty quarterback in Michael Penix. You release Kirk Cousins, which there's got to be dead money involved in that as well. They gave him a huge deal. But just go through some of the additions. Nothing really, special at all. Darnell Mooney, they lost Darnell Mooney. They got Austin Hooper, Nick Folk, Jake Bailey, Jahan Dotson. Nothing really special here. Like I said, Tua, eliminate Zacchaeus. They got Sidney Brown in a random trade with the Eagles that came out of nowhere. They got Brian Robinson. This is a team that me and Sean really like the talent in, especially with their young core. And we feel like it's a core that you want to build around. Now, like I said, we're not grading head coaching hires or, firings, because the Raheem Morris firing, in my opinion, was an A+. But getting Stefanski, like I said, we're not talking about that. Just players alone, not great. Sean, you could take them through who they lost.
Yeah, they obviously Kirk got cut. They lost Caden Ellis, Tyler Algier, D. Alford, Arnold Ebiketie, Darnell Mooney. They lost their kicker and their punter. David Onyemata, Leonard Floyd. They lost a bunch of guys on their D line.
Yeah.
So right now their interior is horrible.
And James Pierce. We got to add that into this too.
Yeah. Right now their interior is Deshaun Hand, Brandon Dorless, Zach Harrison, and Ruka Rororo. Like,
I remember
that's a horrible interior D line. And then you obviously have your edge rushers, Jalen Walker, who is going to be solid, obviously, but James Pierce, who knows if he's even going to be able to play this year. I told Matt last year, I really like this team's
Sean
talent.
Loves the Falcons.
Like, dude,
he did.
You have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, you have these studs on defense when they're not dealing with, legal problems, but that's besides the point. But like, this team just had so many pieces. You didn't know, obviously you didn't know the struggles that Michael Penix was going to face this year, but I thought that they had a lot of potential. And then obviously they have a new coach this year, but just in terms of, free agency signings, it's just kind of another disappointing offseason. They didn't have a ton of money heading into it. Right now they only have 16 million, which it's like, whatever, but they were an 8-9 team last year, right on the fringe of making the playoffs, and you didn't really get any better. If anything, you got worse. or I mean, you definitely did get worse. I
Yeah.
hate the interior. You have to build through the trenches in order to be a very good team, and it's not good. Your edge rushers, one of them is questionable. Um, you don't know what you're going to get at quarterback this year. I mean, when your quarterback plays up in the air heading into the season before the season even starts, that's just not a good sign. Their wide receiver room outside of Drake London's not good.
No.
I don't know. I'm disappointed with the way the Falcons have kind of handled the past 2 seasons, and it's kind of showing now. They're a team that had some potential, and now they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in.
To me, with that organization, like ever since the contract that they gave Kirk Cousins and then they drafted Michael Penix, like it's kind of
Yeah.
just like gone downhill from there. Um, and if you guys don't really know, because they're not huge names, Sean named like 4 or 5 guys that aren't like necessarily like huge impact starters, but they all played like D. Alford, Caden Ellis, Arnold Ebiketie, Leonard Floyd, David Onyemata. Like these guys play, like they're like they're important pieces at least rotationally. Arnold Ebiketie was one of my favorite free agents on the market. I thought they should have brought him back at least as a safety blanket if James Pierce can't play, which it's not looking great right now. In my opinion, Raheem Morris kind of set Kevin Stefanski and his new crew up for failure just with some of the moves they made. Not even just Raheem Morris, just the whole organization.
Yeah.
They kind of put themselves in pretty tough positions with some contracts here. And now they're up to pay Bijan. They need to pay Drake London too. Who knows with Michael Penix? I don't think Michael Penix is any good at all. I don't think Sean does either. I think we have pretty similar opinions on him. I don't like this offseason for the Falcons, especially in a wide open NFC South where would it surprise you if they won the division if they had a good offseason? Absolutely not. But with this offseason, they might be the worst team in this division now if it really comes down to it. Maybe not talent wise, but when we get to some of these other teams,
Dude, now that I'm thinking about it, they seriously might be.
some of these teams got better. And like I said, talent wise, they might have the most top end talent in the division. But we're gonna get to this next team, actually, the Carolina Panthers. Give them an A minus. Now, we don't necessarily love some of the money that they gave, but let's be honest, who cares about money? We're not paying it. I love how people are like, dude, like we're not paying it unless it's like an outrageous contract, which in my opinion, the Jalen Phillips one is pretty outrageous, but nonetheless, some key additions: Jalen Phillips, Devin Lloyd, Isaiah Simmons, Rasheed Walker, John Mechie, like Nick Scott, AJ Dillon. It's kind of random. Forgot
I don't
about
even
him.
remember that happening.
Yeah. Sean can take you through some of their losses, and then we're gonna dive into this Panthers offseason.
Yeah, I mean, they honestly didn't really lose much. Sean Robinson, obviously, he's old. Cade Mays is definitely a loss. He was part of, a good interior there. Lost Rico Dowdle, who, when he had that nice stretch, he looked incredible, but now he's obviously with the Steelers. DJ Wanham, edge rusher, and then a bunch of depth guys, Austin Corbett, Brady Christensen, Hunter Renfrow, like just a bunch of kind of backups.
Yeah.
At the current moment, they have only $3 million in open cap space.
It's kind
So
of
they don't really have much to work with there, especially if they want, Bryce Young long term, if that's really where the direction they want to go. But yeah, I like Matt said, Jalen Phillips way overpaid, but they needed to get better at edge, and they did that. So I'll give him credit for it. If he can stay healthy, he's a good player.
Yep.
$30 million, I don't know about that, but he's a good player. Love the Devin Lloyd signing. That's a fantastic player on a good
great
contract.
value, dude.
Great contract. That's a fantastic signing. Who else am I missing?
Rasheed Walker.
Aquanu's
hurt.
Yeah, like honestly, low risk, high reward. He's kind of on a prove it deal right now.
Yep.
If he can prove it and be, as good as he can be, I think that's a fantastic signing. A lot of good potential here with the Panthers. If they can get maybe above average quarterback play from Bryce Young, this can be a good team. But obviously they sneaked into the playoffs last year in a horrible division. We'll see if they can do it again. But yeah, I like the signings a lot. Don't love the Jalen Phillips money, but other than that, I think it's a good offseason for the Panthers.
Yeah, Sean, I agree with everything you said. Like if you kind of brought this up, if you just like eliminate money and you just look at like player for player who they lost and who they added, like they're way better than they were last year. Like I know Jalen Phillips has never had over 10 sacks, but he's dealt with injuries. And again, huge concern with the money as well. But you got better there. Now you can have Nick Scorton be the number 2 behind Jalen Phillips. And then they also have Princely Umanmiele, and who they also drafted last year. Devin Lloyd, their linebacking core was one of the worst in the league last year. They added an impact player, turns the ball over, great coverage linebacker, can defend the run as well. In my opinion, I feel like he wasn't really talked about on the free agent market. He was like low key, probably the best player of it. Like he was
talent wise, yeah,
arguably the best linebacker in football last year. Like he was a top 5 DPOY candidate for a majority of the season last year. Had that big pick six against Mahomes. And then I kind of like some of these low risk signings, like John Mechie. Like their receiving core is bad. Like try him out. The guy's talented. He's really good in college. Rasheed Walker, like Sean said, another injury guy, but 1 year, $4 million for a guy that's only going to play until Ekwonu comes back, but he might take the job from him because I believe Ekwonu has that injury was like really, really bad. Like, I don't think it was just like, I think it was a very serious injury for Ekwonu, but nonetheless, well done, Panthers. Clap it up for the Carolina Panthers. They don't really do much well. I remember after the Patriots game this past season when we beat them like 42-6 or whatever, there was a lot of people going off on them. There was a specific Panthers podcast that, actually ended because of, the direction the organization was going in, but they somehow scratched into the playoffs last year. They got better in a wide open division. I like the offseason from Carolina, man. They need more skill position, which is why this isn't an A+. But if you're just going player for player, who they lost and who they added, it's a really good offseason. It really is.
Dude, if they add Sadiq in the draft, this might be an A+.
Yeah.
Like this offense is good if they get Sadiq.
Yeah, it's all the quarterback. It's
all Bryce Young. Literally everything.
Don't love the running backs either. Like, like Chuba Hubbard's like, he's serviceable, not great, not bad.
Yeah, but they have AJ Dillon.
Oh, yeah. All right. But nonetheless, good offseason from the Carolina Panthers, all seriousness. But on to the next team, Chicago Bears. Gave them a C-. Me and Sean, like I said, our line kind of C+ is, whatever. We don't really care. You kind of just didn't really do much. And then anything below that, you got worse, in our opinions. And then anything above C+, you got better. I'll go through some of the guys they got. They got Neville Gallimore. They got Kobe Bryant. They got Braxton Jones back, Cam Lewis, Garrett Bradbury, Jedrick Wills, Devin Bush. Those are pretty much the main names that they got. Sean could take you through some of their pretty big losses that they had this offseason.
Yeah. So obviously Tremaine Edmonds gone to the Giants, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Zacchaeus, Nashawn Wright, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Those are kind of the main guys, but I mean, that's like your like majority. That's like 3/5 of your secondary. Ryan Bates is still a free agent, but he's kind of just a depth center. At the moment, the Bears on the salary, they have the least amount of cap space in the league. They have $1 million. So this is a team that didn't really have the money to, kind of keep all these guys, I guess you could say. But I mean, they're losing Byard, Nashawn Wright, Tremaine Edmonds, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I just did the math. They had 23 interceptions last year. 19 of those interceptions came from those players that they lost. Like that's a big difference. Mm-hmm. Like when your entire defensive or nearly your entire defensive identity is getting turnovers because they can't stop the run to save their lives. I like their cornerback room. It's solid. Obviously, losing Nashawn Wright doesn't help, but when majority of your defensive identity is getting turnovers and you lose 19 of the 23 turnovers that your defense got, you're losing, leadership guys like Tremaine Edmonds and Kevin Byard. Matt mentioned this off air. That's a big loss, dude. I mean, They also lost DJ Moore on offense, which I know people have their opinions on him. He didn't have a great year last year, but he's better than Ja'Day Walker, who's their third wide receiver right now. Like, you can't argue that. Nope. I don't know. Just for a team that made the divisional round this year, I don't really think they got any better. Eventually, they're going to have to pay Caleb Williams, which obviously they might be planning a little bit around that in terms of signing guys long term, but I'd be disappointed if I was a Bears fan, to be honest. Yeah. Also, Drew Dahlman too.
Yes, I was just gonna say that the Bears. I was literally just gonna say the Bears had like the unluckiest thing happen to them. A 27-year-old center. By the way, best wishes to Drew. Like, I don't want to like criticize the guy. Like, these people are humans too. They're not just like these robots. Like, but that is a really, really unlucky, thing to happen to your team. He was really him and Joe Tooney were the heart of that offensive line. And then you get Garrett Bradbury, who was better than people expected last year on the Patriots, but he still struggles a lot. He's not a very big center. He can't really lead an offensive line. Not great in pass pro or run block. He kind of gets pushed back into the quarterback a lot. I saw that a lot last year. But like Sean said, it's a really good point. Your defensive identity can be based around turnovers because a lot of defenses are bend don't break where they play a lot of soft zone. They let and that's kind of how the Patriots were at the beginning of the 2025 season. They play soft zone, they play off man. They'll give up 4, 5, 6 yard plays, but they don't give up the big play. The Bears are the opposite. The Bears will give up the big play, but when it matters, they'll turn the ball over. And that's what a lot of good teams' defenses are built around. Like, the Rams last season, I know they got a lot better, but they had a lot of guys. Not necessarily their secondary wasn't good last year, but the players on their defense made plays when they needed to. And the Bears were like that last year as well. Your defensive identity doesn't need to always just be around, locking teams up, holding them. It doesn't have to be the 2024, the 2014 Seahawks, the 2025 Seahawks for that matter, or the Texans. Sometimes your defensive identity is just around being ball hawks and turning the ball over in key situations. And they got that from Bayard last year. They got that from Nashawn Wright last year. And although I really like the Kobe Bryant signing, and I really like the Devin Bush signing, I think they're losing leaders on that defense as well. Me and Sean talked about. You're losing guys that, are just veterans in this league. Now, the Bayard one, I don't want to sound biased as a Patriots fan. He's 33 years old, so I do understand it. But first team All-Pro, if you want to try to win now in Caleb's rookie window, and the Patriots only got him for a 1-year, $9 million deal. I think that's an incredible contract, in my opinion. If you want to take advantage of your quarterback's rookie window, just players like that. Me and Sean also talked about this interior defensive line is horrible. They can't stop the run. They're going to need to take an edge rusher in the draft. I'm just concerned about this defense. Like I said, I do like some of the moves. I like the Jedrick Wills move. Funny enough, just a low risk, high reward. They did add impact players. They got Braxton Jones back, Kobe Bryant. But in the end of the day, we think they did get a little bit worse. DJ Moore too, and I know he wasn't necessarily happy there. He was struggling there. A little bit of effort issues, wasn't really fully bought in. But the Bears, if you just look at the roster, that's all we're looking at, player for player, they got worse. And that's all we're doing right now. And we're not saying, the Bears aren't going to make the playoffs. They absolutely still could. Yeah. If they have a good draft and Caleb takes another step next year and they get some, really good seasons from some of the young guys on that defense. They still got TJ Edwards. They still have Montez Sweat. Like, they still have good players on that defense. Another guy, by the way, that you brought up that they lost to, which is a really big one. Of course, I can't remember his name, the box safety that they lost. Why can't I remember his name right now?
Brisker?
Yeah, Jaquan Brisker. Another really big loss too. Like, just a lot of really good players lost. At the end of the day, they did get a little bit worse. They lost Drew Dahlman. They lost a lot of really good players that were important on the Bears being a playoff team for the first time in a while last year. So that's kind of where me and Sean landed at. Next team up, we have the Dallas Cowboys. We actually gave a B+, funny enough. I know it doesn't really sound natural to give the Cowboys anything above a C+ when you have Jerry Jones running, ship over there, but they made some good moves, man. They signed Terrence Steele to a 3-year deal. They got Jalen Thompson. They got PJ Locke. They got Rashawn Gary. They got Kobe Durant. They got who else am I gonna say? They signed Brandon Aubrey on a 1-year tender. Like, they made some good moves. Sean, take them through who they lost.
They really didn't lose anything. Yeah. Their most significant loss value-wise was Jalen Tolbert. I mean, if that's your only loss. I mean, Logan Wilson, I'm pretty sure he retired. I mean, Kenneth Murray, Donovan Wilson, Dante Fowler,
Kenneth Murray is horrible.
Miles Sanders, like, you're not losing anyone important. And you added a couple guys in your secondary that can play, which is obviously, their weakness, their secondary. They also lost a Diggy to the 49ers,
Yep.
or they traded him, I believe. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is a good offseason. Cowboys got better. In terms of salary, where are they? Can't find them. 15 million. So they still have a little bit of room to work with. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to add an edge rusher. It's definitely, an option in the draft.
Still some
Definitely,
solid veteran options out there.
yeah, definitely still need corner. They run a 3-4. Me and Matt talked about him off air. Joey Bosa's still out there. He's more of a 4-3 edge rusher.
Yeah.
There was another team that we were talking about. I forget who it was that would make sense for a lot for him, I think.
The Niners. I mean,
Niners.
no, not the Niners. The Lions. Sorry, the Lions.
Lions, yes. Lions would make a ton of sense for Bosa. We'll get to them though. But yeah,
Yeah.
Cowboys still need a lot of help on that defense. Obviously, edge rusher still need corner help, but I like what they did with their safeties. I think they're going to address a lot of the rest of it in the draft. If they make any picks in the top 4 or 5 rounds on offense, I think that's a failure. They need to just keep adding on that defense. But yeah, it's a solid offseason for what it's worth. Didn't really lose anything. Added a couple good players that can, be pretty impactful. So I like what they did.
I mean, yeah, you have a revamped defense with Jalen Thompson and PJ Locke. I think the PJ Locke 1 year, $4 million deal is a really good contract. He's a, pretty good box safety. And then you got Jalen Thompson to play there as well. Me and Sean talked about it. If you just look roster from last year to this year, player for player, who they lost, who they got, the Cowboys got better. They did. They got some impact guys on defense. I don't really like Rashawn Gary. I think he's kind of lazy. I think his effort's not great. I think he's getting a little older. I think he's probably 28, 29 now. Take a shot in edge rusher, low risk, 4th round in the 27 draft. I think they created some cap. They restructured guys like Kenny Clark's deals. But they got better. They did. They have a lot of holes still on the team. Odigizua fit more of a 4-3 defense as well. He's more of a defensive end, getting after the passer. The Cowboys want to stop the run, and he's not really great at that. I think that was a really good move for the Niners, but again, we'll get to that. But the Cowboys got better, and they decided to move on from some guys that really didn't fit. They got George Pickens back, obviously. Say what you want about that. Malik Hooker back. He's not great, but he's their 3rd safety now. He won't be playing. He won't be in as much of an elevated role. The cornerback room still needs major help. With Savon Revel and Deron Bland. I think Kobe Durant's a nice swing, but he shouldn't be your best cornerback on your team, in my opinion. Him or Bland's kind of a ball hawk, but he's, we know what he gets exposed in coverage. But nonetheless, player for player, the Cowboys got better. B+, shout out to the Cowboys. They actually got some pretty impact guys that'll play week 1 that'll, make a very large impact. On to the next team, the Detroit Lions. Gave a C-. Now, this is a team that 2 years ago, before I get into this, 2-3 years ago, we thought, wow, this team's just entering their window. This team's going to probably be a consistent 12, 13 win team for 5 years with how good this roster is, how good the O-line was, how good, Aiden Hutchinson was ascending to be. That hasn't changed. The young players, and they went 9-8 last year, and they kind of didn't really do anything this offseason. I'll get into something. I like the Cade Mays move. They need help on the offensive line. They released Taylor Decker. They got Isaiah Pacheco. They traded away. I'll let Sean get into that. They got Tyler Conklin. They re-signed Malcolm Rodriguez. They got Roger McCreary. They got Greg Dortch, Chuck Clark. Not really loving what they did, to be honest. Sean, you can take them through who they lost.
Yeah, Alex Anzalone, linebacker, went to the Bucks. Amik Robertson went to the Commanders. Roy Lopez, D-line, went to the Cardinals. Al-Quidi Muhammad, who had a random good year, went to the Bucks on a 1-year deal. Then they lost a bunch of randoms, or not a bunch of randoms, but a bunch of depth guys like Cleve Raymond. Obviously, Taylor Decker now still a free agent. DJ Reader still a free agent. Graham Glasgow still a free agent. Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, all those guys still free agents. Not a fan of this. This is, like Matt said, this is a team you were really hoping would take a couple of steps and, jump into that Super Bowl window in these couple years when Jared Goff's still technically in his prime. And they really don't do it. they're missing a left tackle, which is, one of the most important positions on a football team. They lost David Montgomery, who, say what you want about him being their second running back. He's a good player. He was impactful for them.
Hmm.
I still think the interior could use some help. Obviously, Lee McNeil is very good. Tyreek Williams is solid. I still think they could use another guy. Need an edge rusher across from Aiden Hutchinson. We just mentioned him. Joey Bosa, I think, would fit perfectly there. On like a 1-year deal. I still think they could use another linebacker. Obviously, corner. Their safety duo is great. So, but I just listed like a bunch of holes that they didn't really address. And the Lions currently have $24.5 million in cap. Like they still have, obviously free agency isn't over and they still have the draft. There's still some holes that they're going to address in that time. But for a team that's, they missed the playoffs, and it's a team where with their quarterback nearing the end of not his career, but he's getting up there in age. He's only got so much good football left in him. And you're not really being aggressive to try and, become one of those top teams in the NFC. I think it's kind of disappointing. Like Matt said, I love the Cade Mays move. I think that's a good signing to replace Glasgow, but you're missing some key positions there, man. And they haven't really shown any aggression towards them.
Dude, low-key, biggest bust of the 24 draft, Terrion Arnold's got to be up there.
Oh, yeah, he's horrible.
Like, he's had a tough start to his career. And he was kind of their, hopefully to be their fixture, because their cornerbacks have really struggled. Even when they've been,
and they've
good.
dealt with injuries too.
Yeah, exactly. But like even then, like your cornerback room right now is like Terrion Arnold, Rock Ya-Sin, Roger McCreary, like
DJ Reed.
Oh, DJ Reed, yeah. But he also he was hurt last year too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like Sean said, a lot of injuries for a team like this.
And I didn't mention that when I was kind of like crapping all over them. I know they've dealt with their fair share of injuries. I'm not trying to like discredit that, but
yeah, but to me, this is
still a team that's got to be good.
Yeah, and this isn't even just a Jared Goff being in his prime, because this is a team more built around your, everybody. It's not just a quarterback. You're in, guys like Penei Sewell's prime, Amon-Ra St. Brown's prime, Jameson Williams primes, and I know they're still young players, Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's like you were just entering your window, it looked like 2 years ago, and now it's like it looks like you're already fading out of it, and these guys are just entering their deals that you signed them to. They need a lot of help on the defensive side of the football, but at the same time, they're missing maybe the most important position, which is left tackle. Personally, I know Penei Sewell's a great player. I don't know if moving him to left tackle is a great idea. He's maybe the best right tackle we've seen in the past 10 years. But if they get that desperate, I guess that's what they're going to have to do, because right tackle is a little bit more of a position you can plug and play. But the Lions are not in as good of a position as people might just automatically assume that they are. They have a lot of holes, specifically on defense and on the offensive line. That's why we gave them a C-. Now thinking about it, probably could have given them a little lower than this, Sean, because I guess it's just if you look at the roster from last year, they didn't get like a crazy amount worse, but they're missing a lot of guys. And we brought up Joey Bosa. They need another edge rusher alongside Aiden Hutchinson, because Sean, I don't even know who it is right now, to be honest with you. Sean sent it to me off air. I know a lot of players in the NFL.
Sorry, Matt, say that again.
Who's the Lions' second edge rusher right now?
DJ Wanham, who they literally just signed on like a $2 million deal.
Yeah. So like it's just they have a lot of holes. There's still compatible players in free agency, but the Lions nonetheless, they got worse. Pound for pound, they did. On to another team that definitely got worse as well, and we do not like this offseason. It's the Green Bay Packers. Gave them a D. I'll take you through the limited guys that they brought in, and Sean can take you through the laundry list of players that they have departed. They got Nick. They signed Nick Neiman, Benjamin St. Juste, Sky Moore, Zaire Franklin. Pretty much the only big name. Javon Hargrave, older defensive tackle. He's kind of been bouncing around the past couple of years. That's pretty much it. There's a bunch of depth guys. Brenton Cox. Sean, take them through who they lost. I'm running out of names here.
Well, yeah, obviously Malik Willis was the big fish that they lost, but he wasn't even a starter for them. Obviously Dobbs signed with the Patriots on a 4-year deal, who was arguably their best receiver. Quay Walker big linebacker loss. Obviously, hoping to replace him with Zaire Franklin, but not as good. They lost their center, Ellen Jenkins, Kingsley Enigbare, Rasheed Walker, who obviously dealt with his fair share of injuries, and Nate Hobbs, Emmanuel Wilson. But when I look at the Packers, their offense is fine. Like, they still have their wide receiver room. I still like Tucker Kraft is one of the best tight ends in the league. Josh Jacobs is good. Their defense is where I really just kind of get tripped up. The interior isn't great. They just got Javon Hargrave, which is, it's kind of whatever. Like Matt said, he's just kind of a guy bouncing around team to team. But their corners aren't good. Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and Javon Bullard. I mean, you added Benjamin St. Juste, where it's like, really? I don't know. This is a potential corner team in the draft too. They don't have a first round pick. Yeah, they don't have a first round pick because they obviously the Micah Parsons trade. But yeah, there's just so many holes on their defense. I'm a little concerned. And in terms of money, Green Bay. Where's Green Bay? They had $23 million. Like, they had enough money to go out and get a guy or two or three on like maybe 1 or 2 year deals to just make the team better, fill some holes. Especially for a team that doesn't have a first round pick, you're not gonna be able to get that high end talent. So definitely a little disappointing. But we'll see where they go.
Yeah, the Zaire Franklin signing is a little interesting because he had a down year last year. He's getting older. They lost Quay Walker. I think Quay Walker's a better player than him too. Another team that in the NFC North that, they have a window open. They still have Micah Parsons. They're still a good team, but pound for pound roster. They also lost Rashawn Gary too. Like, not great, but
he was a starting edge for them.
Like, better than what they have opposite of Micah Parsons, obviously. They lost a lot of impact guys. Like Sean said, they lost their number one red zone target receiver. He had the most yards in their team. They're relying on a big jump from Matthew Golden, and getting back Tucker Kraft will be big. Elton Jenkins, like Sean said, dealt with a lot of injuries. Benjamin St. Juste, 2 year, $9 million. He was a little bit better on the Chargers last year, but again, like if he's like your CB1 or 2, like it's not really where you want to be. They're kicking Jordan Morgan out to left tackle full time now with Rasheed Walker gone. We'll see what happens, but me and Sean are not a fan of this offseason.
Yeah, and their other outside linebacker opposite Micah Parsons is Brenton Cox Jr.
Yeah, like, wait, what about Lucas? What about Lucas Van Ness?
They have him listed on the same side as Parsons. Obviously, he can filter in, but
yeah, okay. Another really bad.
Even I was gonna say even him, it's like,
yeah. I'm acting like I said. What about Lucas Van Ness? Like he's like a 12 sack guy. Anyways, on to the next team. We're not going to really spend a lot of time on this team. It's the Rams. It's an A+. Don't need to go through the losses or anything like that. They got Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. Their only position that was bad last year, they re-signed Cam Curl, who was probably the top safety on the market. They don't have they're not bad anywhere. Like they're not.
You can't go wrong here.
Like they lost Kobe Durant and they lost another cornerback, but it doesn't matter. And they lost
Roger McCreary.
Yeah, Roger McCreary. It's like, and then they get
Jalen.
They're gonna drop Mekhi Lemon, so whatever.
Yeah, but they lost Jimmy G.
But we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. You guys know the best team in football probably got better. They got McDuffie and Jalen Watson, both Chiefs cornerbacks. Like that's scary. Sean, if you have anything to add before we move on.
I don't.
Yeah,
I mean it's the best roster in football. You really can't argue it. They got their one position of need. They added 2 fantastic players there.
Yep.
So, I mean,
yeah,
there's really not much to say. They went all in on Matthew Stafford's final year, which they should have. They did the perfect job trying to do so. So I really like it.
Yeah, not really much to say. Just an amazing team. Got way better. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings, we gave them a C+. Not really much, added besides the big man, the little man, Kyler Murray. They re-signed Eric Wilson on a 3-year deal. They re-signed Ivan Pace. They cut Aaron Jones and they re-signed him. They cut Javon Hargrave. They cut Jonathan Allen. They released Harrison Smith. They got Kyler Murray. They got Ryan Vandemark because Christian Darrisaw gets hurt every game. They got James Pierre. Sean, you can kind of I kind of said some of the guys they cut.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen, Naylor, Hargrave, Harrison
Yeah.
Smith is 40, so he's still a free agent. Jeff Okuda. It's really the main losses.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we really need to talk about here is Kyler Murray. We gave him a C+ because we kind of just feel like they stayed stagnant. They're gonna get better quarterback play.
Also, Kyler, I mean, you literally can't get worse than McCarthy, so Kyler will be better.
And by the way, let me just make this
Assuming
very clear. Me and Sean do not like Kyler Murray that much, but like you can't get worse than the quarterback.
No, you literally cannot get worse.
It's not possible. If you guys watch any Minnesota Vikings football games,
well, maybe Max Brosmer.
Myself included. I was gonna say myself included. When Max Brosmer was starting that Seahawks game because he went to UNH and obviously I'm from the area. I was like rooting for the guy. Might have been the worst quarterback performance I've ever watched in my life. Remember that? Did you see that one pick where he was falling?
I already know what you're about to talk about.
Yeah, yep. I don't need to say it. It's really just based off of the Kyler Murray signing. Kevin O'Connell probably will get the most out of him. James Pierre, rotational cornerback. Ryan Vandermark, solid backup left tackle option for Christian Darrisaw, who's probably only going to play like 8 games next year. Unbelievable player, by the way. It's a really unfortunate. Another thing that Sean pointed out, me and Sean pointed out on off air, and Sean really, dove into it. Their interior defensive line is not good. And I'm not saying Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave were like the saviors because they're older, but Sean, just take it from there.
Bro, I was going through the depth chart and I said, Matt, it's Jalen Redmond and friends. When Jalen Redmond is the one that has friends, that is bad. Their other two, they run a 3-4. The other two ends are Levi Drake Rodriguez and Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. No offense to those guys, not NFL starters. You need to draft interior D line, and you need another safety too. Definitely 2 spots they're gonna be targeting in the draft. My God,
they're taking Dylan Thieneman. Come on, they're taking Dylan Thieneman.
Harrison Smith 2.0.
Yeah, but they're honestly a D tackle spot too. Like no joke. Like they need defensive tackle help. We don't like their running back room at all. After Jefferson and Addison, also, he's kind of like a psychopath.
Last year.
He has like legal problems too. Like he's kind of a weirdo, like talking crap to Christian Gonzalez. Like, I don't know. He's kind of a weird guy. Okay. Well, if you want to dive into that, we can, because it was an embarrassing comment that he made, but
no, I know.
They got Johnny Hecker. Still
there we go.
He's still kicking around, but all seriousness though, also tight end Hawkinson's like getting up there. Like they sneaky need an answer at tight end as well.
Yeah, but they have bigger needs.
They're kind of just working with the same team again. But O'Connell's such a good coach. I think Kyler Murray will be better with him. Not that I'm saying.
I mean, bro, they went 9-8. Like if Kyler Murray can get you a win or 2 more, they're a playoff team.
Yeah, but if you're like, I just don't know how you're bad with Justin Jefferson. Like it's just like
the thing is too, we've talked about this. They have a good, for the most part, they have a good roster.
Yeah, they have good players. They still have Grenard, still have Van Ginkel.
I mentioned holes like the interior and one of their safeties, but as a whole, it's a good roster. Mm-hmm. It's quarterback play, and it sucks. I mean, it's for the main core pieces are the same from when they went 14-3 with Sam Darnold. And now you got JJ McCarthy, who came in, and you win 4 less games and miss the playoffs. What are you going to get with Kyler? Who knows?
Those 5 less wins, though, the wins came down the stretch. They were really a 6-win team. Those wins didn't.
No, I know, but still, it's
well, I'm just saying, the quarterback play was that bad. It was that bad. If Kyler Murray could just give you competent, 20 touchdowns, 7 picks, run for 5-6 touchdowns, they're gonna probably be a playoff team. And all you have to do is get Justin Jefferson involved in the offense, and he's got to make plays. Don't love the running back room either. I said it earlier, but again,
yeah, it's not good.
We gave it a C+. It's pretty much the same team. It's all based off of, can Kevin O'Connell get the best out of Kyler Murray? Moving on to the next team. In offseason, me and Sean actually sneaky kind of liked and didn't like at the same time. They got some good players. The New Orleans Saints, we gave them a B-. They got Travis Etienne, they got David Edwards, they got Noah Fant, and they got Caden Ellis. Those are the big four moves that they made. Travis Etienne obviously helps the run game, Matt like a ton, and you add the big boy David Edwards in there, one of the best left guards in football, Sean's boy. Sean, take them through some of the losses that they had, though.
Yeah, it's really only two big ones. It's Alontae Taylor and Demario Davis, and then Foster Moreau too, backup tight end. Taysom Hill's also a free agent, but who cares?
Please retire. Oh my God. They're gonna be running read options with him till 2020, like till 2050.
Cameron Jordan too. Say what you want about Demario Davis and his age. He's still a good football player. You're losing the captain of your defense. Obviously he's still playing good ball, and he's in a place he'd rather be nowhere else than with the New York Jets. And then losing Alontae Taylor doesn't help either. Good corner. So now they got Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Definitely got a little bit worse there, but Matt said it. Their offense got way better, trying to protect their I'm not going to say young quarterback because he's a 26-year-old second-year
Their average age quarterback.
Yeah, they're middle-aged quarter. Anyways, they made the offensive line better. They got him a better running back. I think it's pretty inevitable at this point. They're drafting a receiver at pick 8, whether it be a Mekhi Lemon, a Carnell Tate, a Tyson if he's there. Right now, their second wide receiver is Devon Bailey, and I mean, if that's your second receiver with a quarterback in his second year, you're setting him up for failure. But I do like what the Saints did. They got better. The offense got better. Defense got slightly worse, but I still think it's a good offseason.
Yeah, they got better on the side of the ball that you want to get better when you have a young quarterback, a middle-aged, a young quarterback in the NFL.
Matt, just say second year, bro.
Yeah, a second-year quarterback in the he's like 3 years older than Drake May, which is just so funny. But a second-year quarterback in the NFL. They got David Edwards. They're starting to build one of the best lines in football. Sneaky. Kelvin Banks, Eric McCoy, if he could stay healthy. David Edwards and Talisi Fuaga. Like, that's a damn good O-line. That's why the draft is so important, man.
Yep.
See what they do with Alvin Kamara, but I don't. No offense, Alvin. Like, great career, but if I'm a Saints fan, I don't really care anymore. He's not the same player. I like what the Saints are doing. Demario Davis, big loss. He's been there forever. He's still a really good player, like somehow in the middle of that defense. But other than that, like, solid offseason for the Saints. Offensively, they got Zach Wilson as a backup quarterback. But anyways, moving on to the next team, the New York Giants, who just signed, I think, everybody in free agency that was available. They got Isaiah Likely, Jordan Stout, Tremaine Edmonds. They re-signed Jermaine Illuminor, Isaiah Hodgins. They got our Darius Washington, Greg Newsome. They re-signed Micah McFadden, who I made a mistake on. I thought he was still a free agent or signed elsewhere, but he's like
I didn't know they re-signed him.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect what we said in that video. Patrick Ricard, Caleb Murphy, Evan Neal, they re-signed, Calvin Austin, Elijah Campbell, Sam Roberts, just a bunch of dudes. But Sean, you can take them through who they lost.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson, obviously their biggest guy, had a great year last year. Cordell Flott, Daniel Bellinger, Dane Belton, Austin Schlottman. Of course, 4 of those 5 guys went to the Titans with Brian Dable.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Matt said, they lost Bobby Okereke also. Obviously, he got released.
He's still
like
free agent.
Yeah. Like Matt said, they're just signing a bunch of players because they had the money, but they still have it. They still have a bunch of cap space. Where is it? Oh wait, not really. They only have $7 million. I lied. But it's because they signed so many guys. Obviously, they got better. New head coach. Hopefully, you get a good jump out of Jackson Dart in his second year. Still think they could use another potential receiver landing spot with Darius Slayton as year 2.
Or Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But yeah, I think it's solid. Offensive line solid. Still think they could use another interior D lineman too. But linebacker room got better. Safety room got better. It's a good offseason for the Giants. They had a ton of money and they did their job. Another sneaky signing is Patrick Ricard too. He's really good in
Yeah.
the run game. I
John
like that
Harbaugh.
signing.
John Harbaugh had to bring Patrick Ricard over.
Tyler Linderbaum, we're good. We got Ricard.
They also got Isaiah Likely, who's pretty much a big slot. He's not even really a tight end, to be honest. I actually like that signing. Just, again, develop your young quarterback. They got Jermaine Illuminor back, really, really solid right tackle. Tremaine Edmonds, a little bit of a down year for the Bears, but he's still a good player. He's still, not particularly old. Ardarius Washington, another Raven that Harbaugh had to bring over too. Solid player, nothing special. They kind of replaced Flott with Newsome, and I actually like that. Flott had a nice year for them last year, but Greg Newsome's a pretty solid player. 1 year prove-it deal for him. Overall, again, when you have money like the Giants, you spend it. We see that with teams, and they got better. They're sort of building around their young quarterback. They're protecting him. Hopefully, Andrew Thomas can stay healthy. Another guy that just can never be on the field, but when he is, he's awesome. But good offseason from the Giants so far. They definitely still need more help, but good start. On to the next team. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who me and Sean decided to give a B-. Some main moves that they extended Jordan Davis. They got Reek Woolen. They got they got Arnold Ebiketie. They got Jonathan Jones. They got Marquise Brown. They got Stone Smart. They re-signed Fred Johnson. They got Elijah Moore. Sean, take them through some of the pretty big guys that they did lose this offseason.
Yeah, just on defense, Jalen Phillips, obviously, Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche, John Dotson, and a bunch of depth guys. Obviously, the loss of Jalen Phillips is pretty big. I do think they're a potential edge spot in the draft. They do have some nice guys, some solid guys like Jalix Hunt after him. Not surprised, Kobe Dean being gone. Obviously, they have Jahad Campbell that can replace him. So, really not shocked that they moved on from Dean. And then Blankenship, obviously, a pretty solid loss. I told Matt, I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is like the definition of an Eagle, just like a nasty safety over the middle. If you're running over the middle against him and Makuba, good luck, because that would suck. Yep. But yeah, I mean, they lost some guys, but they also made some good additions. I think obviously they always draft well, so this is probably going to go up. So not bad from the Eagles.
Yeah, the offense is pretty much identical, and you're pretty much relying on Jalen Hurts, which, say what you want, we don't really love him over here. Defensively, like Sean said, Dean, not super worried about that loss. He's a really good player, but Jahad Campbell, we already know he's going to develop into probably a Pro Bowl level player. We saw the flashes at the beginning of the year last year. Ebiketie, really, really, really nice depth signing. He had a pretty nice year with the Falcons. He had a really high pressure rate. I believe he was top 15 in the league in pressure rate for, the limited amount of snaps that he got. But he was one of my favorite depth free agents, for any team to sign. Reek Woolen, they'll probably develop him into a monster as a rotational quarterback with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, obviously being different players than DeJean, but when he's not being asked to be the main guy, and he wasn't in Seattle either. I'm not saying he's a perfect player. He gets burned sometimes off the line of scrimmage, but again, if you can get that guy's talent back to where it was a couple of years ago when he looked like he was probably going to be a surefire top 5 corner in the NFL, it's pretty scary. And the Eagles and not Howie Roseman. Why am I forgetting their defensive coordinator's name? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Blanking.
No, I need to look this up. This is so bad. Vic Fangio. I didn't even look it up. Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio over there, they'll get the best out of him. Brock Goddard back. We'll see what happens with the whole A.J. Brown situation. But as of today, April 5th, he's still on the roster. They did get we think, a smidge better, and they'll draft well, like Sean said. So we decided to give them a B-. Brought in some depth guys as well. Started randomly signing like every old receiver on the market, like Marquise Brown and Elijah Moore, but need another safety. O-line's getting a little old, but other than that, they had a good offseason. On to the next team. Getting towards the wire here. The San Francisco 49ers. We decided to give them a B. Didn't really lose much, so I don't even know if we really need to go through that because, Sean, who did they lose?
Kendrick Bourne was their biggest loss, and then
they'll lose to a bunch of things, but
Yeah,
You
Juwan
know?
Jennings still a free agent. Yetur Gross-Matos.
Yeah.
That's really it.
So they brought in Mike Evans, obviously. They brought in Vidarian Lowe. They brought in Oso Digizua. They brought back Dre Greenlaw. They brought in Nate Hobbs. They brought in Christian Kirk. I think it's a solid offseason from the Niners. And also they're getting healthy. That's kind of a reason why their defense took such a fall off last year at points. You bring in Odigizua, who's a D tackle that can really get after the quarterback. That's what he specializes in. That's why Dallas obviously traded him away. Vidarian Lowe, solid spot starting, left tackle. We make fun of him a lot, but he's actually not that bad. He played well in Will Campbell's absence last year. Mike Evans 3-year deal, a lot of front money for Mike Evans, which makes sense. He's older, but again, going to be a really, really good target for Brock Purdy over there. And Nate Hobbs, not great. Christian Kirk, kind of an okay wide receiver 3-4. He'll replace Kendrick Bourne fine. But they didn't really lose anybody, and they added some solid impact guys. We think the Niners just got better, and they're getting healthier.
Yeah. They didn't lose anyone. I'm going to be really interested to see where they go in the draft, just because they're such a well-rounded team. They don't really have many weaknesses roster wise. I think wide receiver is a potential option. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted their left tackle of the future, based on what happens with Trent Williams. Another interior guy wouldn't surprise me on defense. Linebacker wouldn't be surprised. Just a lot of positions where they're okay at right now, but they have the potential to upgrade in the draft. So definitely a team I'll be interested to see what they do in the draft. But this is a solid season for the Niners. Didn't lose much. Added a couple guys that can help out right away. So I like it.
Yeah, Niners just always solid every year. They get amazing coaching over there. And they brought in some guys. They brought back the duo with Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner if they can both stay healthy. They're getting healthy. They got Mike Evans. They got Oso Digizua. They didn't lose pretty much any impact players besides Juwan Jennings, but Mike Evans is better than him. Good offseason from the Niners. We'll see what they do in the draft. On to our third and final team. Not third and final team. Third to last team. What am I talking about? Third to last team. The Seattle Seahawks, the defending Super Bowl champions. We decided to give them a C, which might surprise some people. Again, guys,
let us explain ourselves.
We're grading off seasons. This is
not
still
how good the team is.
Still a top 3 team in the NFL. Please relax. We're saying from the end of the season to now, did the roster personnel wise get worse? Does that mean that Mike McDonald can't coach up some guys at the end of the depth chart? No, we're just saying right now, we haven't seen it yet. We're in April. Just relax before you start yelling at us in the comments, because they lost some impact guys. But I'll get into who they brought in. They brought back Josh Jobe. They really gave Rashid Shaheed a big contract. He's going to have to be more than a 15, 20 catch per year kind of guy. They're paying him $17 million a year. He's going to have to be probably a 30 to 40 catch guy if he wants to really live up to that. They signed right tackle Josh Jones. They signed tight end Brady Russell. They got running back Emmanuel Wilson. They obviously extended JSN. That's really it for guys that they brought in. Sean, you can get into the guys that they lost. And when you guys hear this list, if you don't really follow the NFL super, super close, these are impact players.
Yeah, they didn't lose a lot in terms of quantity, but you got Boye Mafe, one of their best edge rushers, Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, Kobe Bryant, one of their starting safeties, and Reek Wool, and one of their outside corners. I'm not too concerned with the Boye Mafe loss because they have so much depth at the edge position. They have guys, obviously they have DeMarcus Lawrence. They have, what's his name? Derek Hall, Nwosu. Ernest Jones comes off the edge sometimes. It's a very good edge unit / outside linebacker. And obviously losing Boye Mafe doesn't help. You can never have too much pass rush. But this isn't a group that's like desperate for pass rush, so losing him isn't the worst. Kenneth Walker is a loss. Zach Charbonnet and Emmanuel Wilson as your 2 running backs, I'm not a fan of. Charbonnet always takes all the goal line carries, but as your every down back, not a huge fan of it. We'll see if they'd take a guy like Jadarian Price in the second round or something. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Kobe Bryant, their safety's gone. Now it has ESPN is saying Ty Okada is their starting strong safety. I think that's more Nick Emenwari. They have him listed as
Yeah.
their nickel. But again, Nick Emenwari plays all over the place. He's just a box safety, box kind of guy. And then Rikulin, obviously corner. They re-signed Josh Jobe. They're going to extend Devin Witherspoon sooner rather than later. So it's still a solid corner room, but definitely some losses that are significant to a team that was very good. Like Matt said, still a very good team, one of the best rosters in the NFL. But these are significant losses. They probably will not be as dominant as last year, but obviously if they have a very good draft, still going to be one of the best teams in the league.
I mean, yeah, Mike McDonald's defense is it's not centered around superstars. If you guys watch them, they have a rotation at pretty much every single position. So that's why the Boye Mafe loss isn't huge. But like Sean said, you can never have enough pass rushers. And he was one of my favorite players in that interior. I think he's super underrated. He had a great pass rush win rate. He can win with bull rush. He's a solid run defender. Reek Willens struggled last year. He was a cut candidate at times. But then you lose. They lost. Oh my God, they lost Kobe Bryant. Yeah, they lost Kobe Bryant to the Bears, and then they lost Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, and they didn't do anything at running back. Like we said, if you just look at the offseason and player for player, they got worse. But the way Mike McDonald coaches this team, they're gonna be totally fine, guys. We're just talking player for player again. But the guys that they got aren't gonna replace who they have now. They can draft the guys, and they'll be, again, they'll be totally fine. But as of right now, they did get a little bit worse just personnel-wise. On to the next offseason, second to last, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We gave a C+. I told Sean this when we were off air, just giving our grades for these before we get on here. I don't care about this offseason. I don't care at all. Like, it's just like whatever. They re-signed Kate Otten. They gave Kenneth Gainwell $7 million a year when they could have got Rashad White for, believe $2 million a year.
For $2 million with the Commanders. Yeah,
they got Alex Anzalone. They got Al-Quindin Muhammad. They got Al-Quindin Muhammad. They got Ashawn Robinson, kind of the main guys. They got Christian Roseboom from Carolina. I just don't care about this offseason. Sean, you could take him through who they lost, and then you can kind of dive into it a little bit.
Yeah, obviously Mike Evans gone to the Niners. Jamal Dean starting corner. Logan Hall interior D lineman. Hassan Reddick is gone, but he was horrible. Obviously Levante David retired. I don't know, just a team that's always hovering like around the 500 mark. And
Todd Bowles, man.
Yes, I think if they have another season like last, he's gone. I think he has to be gone. You could argue that he should have been gone after this year.
Yeah.
I still think the wide receiver room is solid. You got Godwin, Ibuka, McMillan's good when he's healthy. Like Matt said, I think they overpaid on Gainwell. Tight end, definitely a spot that they could go in the draft. Offensive line still serviceable. The interior, outside of Vita Vea, I think it still could use some help. Hopefully you can get a good year out of Kalijah Kancey if he can stay healthy.
Yep.
Linebackers, it's kind of whatever. Anzalone's still solid, but he's not like anything special. Off the edge, still not great.
No.
It's Yaya Diaby, El-Quidi Muhammad, and then off the weak side, it's Anthony Nelson. Like, okay. Then at corner, it's hopefully you can get a solid second year out of Benjamin Morrison. Jacob Parrish is a good nickel.
Yep.
I like their safety duo, but yeah, just a team that they just I already said it. They always hover around 500. They currently have 15 million in cap, so they could go out and maybe spend on a guy like, I don't know, a Joey Bosa or something. Maybe just a guy for like a year, but I don't know. The future isn't too bright with them. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and Baker's sneaky not young anymore, and we kind of saw him have a tough second half of the year last year. Tampa Bay, the reason I just say I don't really care is Tampa gets very lucky being in such a weak division, and they make the playoffs. Not this year, but they have in the past 2-3 years, being 9-8. Yeah, being 9-8. I know tight end is a big problem, but this is a deep tight end draft. It is a deep edge rushing draft as well. They need to take an edge rusher at 15. I think they have no impact, like full time. Like Al-Quindin Muhammad, I think he had 10.5 sacks last year. at like his age 30 season randomly. He's a really nice story, but like again, like he's probably their best pass rusher right now. Like like Yaya Diaby's the most talented. Kalijah Kancey, first round pick a couple years ago, injury prone, hasn't really done much. Their front seven, I do not like. Levante David retired, obviously, like can't do anything about that, and he, his play declined a little bit, but relying on a big year from Benjamin Morrison, Zion McCollum gets burned a lot. He's still a good player, but the Bucks are just like Sean said, like they just hover. I'm sorry, I don't care about this offseason. I think they got a little bit worse, maybe stayed the same. The receiving core, like Sean said, they're expecting a bigger year out of Ibuka, a better second half at least. They gave Kenneth Gainwell kind of that looks like a little bit of not a panic move, but kind of a reactionary, like 2-year, $14 million. Like Kenneth Gainwell before this year was like never a feature back at all. Alex Anzalone's getting old. He's a fine linebacker. I don't know. I don't really care. Tampa Bay will just probably go 8-9 again next year. Todd Bowles needs to be fired. They got some work to do. Big draft for Tampa Bay. They need young talent desperately. They're starving for it, in my opinion. On to the last team to round it out. Didn't forget about them, the Washington Commanders. We gave a B. Sean, I'd say probably 2 days into free agency, this would probably be an F because they did literally nothing at all besides Odafe Owe. But they ended up making some moves down the stretch. They released Marshawn Lattimore. Who cares? He's so unbelievably washed. They re-signed Treylon Burks. They got Odafe Owe too. We'll get into the contract details there. Again, don't try not to care too much about money, but that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah.
Got Tim Settle, good defensive tackle. They got Leo Chenal. They got Caleb Chason. They got Chigga Conquo. They got Nick Cross. They got Charles Omenihu. They got Rashad White, Van Jefferson, Jerome Ford, De'Ami Brown, Jeremy McNichols, KJ Osborne, whatever. The main guys you're looking at here are Owe, Settle, Chenal, Chason, Okonkwo, and Cross, and I guess Omenihu. And then Sean, you could take them through who they lost real quick.
Yeah, Tyler Biadasz, their center. Chris Rodriguez, another running back. Jake Martin, linebacker. Marshawn Lattimore, free agent. Deebo Samuel, free agent. Bobby Wagner, free agent. Zach Ertz, Von Miller, Austin Eckler, Noah Brown, Jerry McNichols. Kind of just a bunch of old depth guys at this point. Bobby Wagner was still all right last year. So I know he's really old, but he can still be a player for you. But looks like they kind of have their linebacking room of Chenal and Frankie Louvu. Not that that's anything outstanding. But yeah, we'll see. The Commanders still do have the second most cap room in the NFL. They currently have 50.5 million. So they got something to work with. I'm a little disappointed that they wouldn't be more aggressive. I mean, they were aggressive. They assigned Odafe Owe for that big contract, but you still have $50 million. I know they're gonna have to extend Jaden Daniels at some point, so they're gonna need money for that. But I wouldn't have hated if they took a swing before signing Owe at a guy like, maybe even a Max Crosby, just because they have so much money, and you're gonna have to pay your young quarterback at some point if he has another good year this year, and kind of bounce back after last year. He's gonna get a bag, but definitely a team in the draft, wide receiver for sure. Luke McCaffrey's your wide receiver too. Edge isn't bad anymore. Linebacker isn't bad anymore. Definitely a corner spot.
Yeah,
Meek Robertson is their second outside corner, which he's decent depth, but you're relying a lot on Trey Amos in his second year. Still some holes to fill on the Commanders, but they definitely did get better this offseason. I like that they're trying to improve the team around a quarterback that's heading into his third year.
I think they signed a lot of stopgap guys. Like they got like De'Ami Brown, like Van Jefferson, Rashad White. Like if they can't necessarily, because you can't draft everybody in the first round. They got Caleb Chason and Charles Omenihu at edge and D end, kind of stopgap guys. But they still down the road need positions. They only got him on a 1-year deal. They got Chigga Conquo later on in the process. I like that signing. I think he's solid. Not really a blocker at all, but solid receiving tight end. I actually like the Nick Cross signing. 2 years, 13 million is not much at all. Can't stop burping for some reason right now. Really good box safety. or solid box safety. They're also a running back spot, Sean, too. Like their
Oh
running
yeah,
back, their running
don't know
back
why I
room
didn't
is
mention that. Yeah.
their running back room is just a bunch of like rotational guys. Um, but they got better from last year. It's hard to get worse. Their roster after the year they made the NFC Championship, you would have thought that they, oh, this team's gonna be good forever. But my God, their roster last year was brutal, and they got better. They ended up bringing in guys. They kind of started a little bit later in the process, in free agency. People didn't really like their offseason at first, but Tim Settle, Chanel, Owe, Chason, Okonkwo, like these are NFL players that'll play for you for when you have them and start. So nonetheless, Commanders got better. Hopefully, trying to compete again for maybe a wild card spot. I still don't see them really competing with the Eagles yet, but Jaden Daniels looks like he did his rookie year. Who knows? That's going to wrap up our NFC offseason grades. Make sure to drop subscription, as always, to the Monday Morning Quarterback Show. We've gotten a lot of support recently. We can't thank you guys enough. It's been a lot of fun. Like we said, we're going to try to really, stay consistent with this. It's mock draft season officially. The draft, we're in draft month, which is really exciting. Can't wait to do a reaction show to that, but we're still a ways away from that. We still got a couple more mock drafts coming for you guys. Make sure as also to go follow our personals. They're listed right below us. Sean, if you have anything else to add, that'll be it for the show. Thank you guys all for coming, and we will see you guys next time.